Welcome back to the White Home on Wheels podcast. Today we're going over some questions that you guys sent us on Instagram, and we're excited to answer these for you, and hopefully they are helpful.
Yeah, I think we're going to do this probably every once in a while, just to have a bunch of stuff to talk about all at once, because, I know there's a lot of questions out there that people have, and this is a great way for us to answer them and go into more depth. So, what's the first one?
So we got a lot, so we won't be able to cover all of them today, but the first one we're going to go over is how do you handle mail on the road? Do you want me to take over this one?
Mail and packages.
Yes, mail and packages, which are two different things for us at least, because mail in general, we do have a location where all of our important mail, like taxes, medical bills, random stuff like that, that is all sent to my parents' address in Tennessee. So we know that anything that's important, my parents keep all of it in my old bedroom for us. And so whenever we go home, we go through all of it, and if we need to do something with it, then we will.
Mostly we throw it away because it's all junk.
Yeah, but it is nice to have a home base where any mail can be sent, or any packages that we don't necessarily want in the RV, we can do that. But when it comes to packages on the road, like if we want to order off of Amazon, or if a brand is sending us something, then there's multiple ways that you can go about this. And we have learned the hard way with every single thing. So starting off with Amazon, because Amazon, you can buy a little bit of anything off of Amazon, and a main way that you can get Amazon packages on the road is an Amazon locker, so that's a great option. But if you're in the middle of nowhere, like if you're in Wyoming or Montana, Idaho, really any of those, like...
Not near a city.
If you're not near a city, good luck. You're not going to find an Amazon locker. That's kind of unfortunate, because those are really easy. They make your life really simple if you can do an Amazon locker.
There's two different types of lockers, though. There's one, it's literally a locker, like you would think.
You get a code.
Yeah, you get a code, and it's usually outside. You walk up to it. You can either hold your phone close to it, or you can type in the code, and it'll just open the door automatically, grab it, and you go. Those are great, because if you get the package and you're like, this isn't really what I wanted, you return it, stick it back in that locker, shut it, and walk off, and you're good. Or if for some reason you can't get to that location, like if you're going through a city and you end up wanting to change routes, after 3 days of it being delivered, it will get sent back, and you'll get your money back. The second way is, what do they call it? They call it a counter.
Yeah, Amazon hub counters.
So it's usually at like a Walgreens or, I don't know, library, maybe just random places.
AutoZone. It could be anywhere random. But
and it's kind of the same process. You walk up and you give them a code, or you give them your name and all that. And also, if you don't arrive in 3 days, they send it back. You get your money back. So they're great for that kind of thing. Because we've had it where we've had to change routes and we had to get something sent back before.
Mm-hmm. So that's one way with Amazon. But if there is not an Amazon locker within the general area of your route on the road, then you can still order off of Amazon, but you want to send it to a USPS location. So this is a little bit more difficult to do, but it is still definitely manageable, and we've done it many times. So you want to look up USPS's in the area, and you want to go to the USPS website and find out if that particular location offers general delivery. That's the key word, is general delivery.
Yeah, which basically means they'll hold your package for you.
That means that you can get general packages sent to that location. So once you find out that that location offers that service, then you can go to Amazon, put in that address, but you want to change your name to General Delivery Madison White. General Delivery Tyler White. Because if it does not say General Delivery next to your name, they will reject the package.
Yeah.
Because USPS, they are sticklers, and they will not accept it, especially if, because Amazon, you never know if they're going to send it via UPS, via FedEx, or however they're going to send it through the mail, you never know. Like, there's not an option whenever you're checking out on Amazon which provider is going to drop it off at a location. So if the package says general delivery Tyler White, general delivery Madison White, then they will still accept it from our experience.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like if Amazon ships it UPS, they will take it to the post office and drop it off as a general delivery, and then you pick it up that way. We've been able to get away with that. I don't know. Sometimes it gets a little weird. We've only had one package get lost in Texas, right?
No.
Maybe?
No, we had one package get lost, and it was in Idaho.
Oh, yes, that's
and it
right.
ended up getting delivered there like 3 months later.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That
they
was-
called me and they
yeah.
said it just got delivered, and I was like,
I don't even remember what
we're
it
in
was.
a totally different state now, like, I
Yeah.
guess.
So they were nice enough to send it to our location, though.
Yeah,
Remember
they
that? Yeah.
rerouted it for us, but most of the time
Yeah.
USPS workers will not do that for you. But this
Yeah.
one was in a small town in Idaho, and they were really sweet.
Yeah,
But-
USPS isn't as efficient as Amazon or UPS.
But that is still
Go figure.
That is
government.
still a great option. But if you were still that, another great option, like you said, is UPS drop off. I think it's called, what is it called? UPS drop boxes.
Yeah, Dropbox.
And FedEx also has that option too, which you can look up. But then I always call that location.
Yeah.
And I say, can packages get delivered here? And they say
Yes
or no. Sometimes it's $10.
Like in Jackson, they have a FedEx there that we had packages get delivered there several times.
Yes. And they were really nice. We were literally picking up packages there like every week, and they were
Yeah.
really nice about it. But always call, always check to see how much it is, because I've had places try and charge me $20. Like, I had a brand that wanted to send us, it was laundry detergent, and I went to go pick it up, and they were like, yeah, it's $20 to pick up this package. And I was like, well, then I'm not picking it up. So I ended up not even picking up the package, and I just got it returned, because I was like, I'm not paying $20 to pick up laundry detergent when I can just go to the store
And buy it for like
and buy it
a
for less.
fourth of the price.
Yeah, so I was like,
that
I'm not doing
funny.
that. So picking up packages on the road, there's multiple ways to do it. There's the general delivery USPS. There's UPS drop off, or drop box, and then FedEx drop box, which you can look, at least on I have an iPhone, and you can just type that in to the search on your Apple Maps, and you should be able to find something in your location and then call that location.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not super easy to get packages on the road. It takes a lot of research and a lot of time to figure it out. But the more research that you do in figuring it out, the easier it'll be whenever you need to go pick up your package.
Yeah, and you'll get the hang of it too we've gotten pretty good at it over the past couple of years. So, next question: how hard is it to move so often? I guess I can answer this one. It's not necessarily hard to move. We try not to move very often. We try to stay parked in one spot for more than at least 5 days minimum. The last place we were at, we were there for about 6 or 7 days. 7 days is a great amount of time to be in a place. 5 days minimum. That way we're not constantly putting stuff away, and getting it out. But when we're traveling, we'll pull into like a Walmart or just a place that we're overnighting as we are getting to our final destination. We don't get anything out. We just get the necessities like to cook with and that kind of stuff, so that the next morning when we travel, we just have to like make our breakfast and hit the road.
We don't get out any of our decorations.
No.
We don't get out anything.
Yeah, so I mean it is work, but like if you do it, you get to your spot, you do everything that you need to get all your stuff out, or right when you get there, then you won't have to think about it. Then days don't go by and you're like, oh, I need to get my stuff out, And then at that point, you're halfway done with your spot. You know, you want to be able to enjoy your spot. So we usually get everything out as soon as we get there, or within the day. So
And
it's
we're
not.
usually at spots for at least 10 days.
Yeah, we try to stay longer. Yeah, like 10 days. That's like prime, like the prime amount of time. So it's not hard. Sometimes it does. You know, it is some work. But something you get used to, and we've gotten good at it, like everything else. And we're constantly learning. You know, a lot of times if we know we're leaving the next morning, I'll go ahead and make coffee, or I'll have like an easy breakfast ready to go, so that it just makes it that much easier. And also we put a lot of things away the night before, especially our outdoor stuff, because that takes a while. So
We just want our mornings to always go simple,
yeah,
or just simply, because travel days, after you've been stationary for about 2 weeks, something is going to go wrong.
yeah.
Most of the time, something goes wrong.
If you can make the morning and the beginning of the journey as stress free as you can, the rest of your day will be that much easier. So that's really what we strive to do every time we travel. So hope that answers that one. Next.
Next one, this will be definitely you who answers it, and you can just, do it pretty quick. Is what engine is in your motorhome? I love that you guys tow your Jeep around.
What engine? So this motorhome has it's a V8 Chevy Vortec. This RV is on a Workhorse chassis, which is a really solid frame. But the V8 does okay. It pulls pretty good going up mountains, and it even pulls our Jeep pretty well. We go a little slower than we used to, obviously, because we're pulling another 4,500 pounds, but it's not bad, and we get about 6.3 miles to the gallon on a flat highway. But we didn't used to tow the Jeep around. We didn't even own the Jeep when we first set out in this RV. We got to Jackson last year in July, and we were like, I wonder how much a car would be to rent for the month, because we needed something to get around. We just weren't gonna pack up the RV every time we wanted to go explore something.
What was our biggest regret?
That was the biggest
for the
regret,
first
yeah.
8 months on the road last year.
We were like, man, we gotta, every time we want to drive somewhere, we have to pack this thing up. And it is a lot. The Toyota was a little easier, because it was like, just throw a bunch of stuff in the sink, throw stuff up in the bed. There was no slide outs, and we just left. This is definitely more work.
Finding parking spots is not easy in a 30-foot RV.
Yep,
Things
it's a
get a
little
lot more
tougher.
complicated. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
we didn't get to go on hikes as much last year, and we didn't really get to explore, and we were just like, man, we should have towed a car.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what if we just got a rental car to get around to Grand Teton National Park?
And it would have been a lot
It was
of money.
astronomical. I think it was like $4,000
was
for us to have it
crazy.
for a month. And
So
Tyler
then
was like, wait a second.
Like, we can just buy a car
Let's just
for
buy
that
a
much.
car.
Like, so we had sold your car.
Yeah, we sold
By
my
then.
car to my sister.
So in
That-
our minds, we were like, well, we were just taking that cash, putting it over into a new one. So we started looking around. You started looking around. You actually found our Jeep. It was, so we were in Jackson. She found the Jeep. It was in Idaho, literally on the other side of the Tetons, in, I think, a town called Victor.
Yeah, it was.
So we took the RV and we drove all the way around. We didn't want to go over the pass, but we went all the way down by Snake River and all the way around, and it was like 100 something miles. And so we get there and we drove it, and we just loved it. I mean, it had a little small lift kit on it. It's a diesel too.
Yeah, we paid $5,000 for it.
Yeah, we paid $5,000 for it. So it's not a bad little vehicle. It gets us around, 4-wheel drive. It's got the trail rated symbol on it. We don't have to worry about like where we go in it, because it's, it gets us there, and it gets pretty good gas mileage for a diesel. I think 26 miles to the gallon. But I had to figure out the whole tow thing. It took me a while. I put this brake system in it where when I hit the brakes in the RV, it sends a signal back there and it physically pushes its brake. So that definitely helps us with stopping. It stops just like we would without towing it. But it's very nice to have. We are so glad that we have it, and we flat tow it, so that means all four wheels on the ground. But it's made our quality of life just that much better. It's improved. I mean, probably double, because we are able to go on hikes and we're able to go to the grocery store. We're able to go get water.
Definitely one of the best purchases
Yeah.
we've ever made in our marriage.
Yep. So we just love having it. And we didn't plan for it to be white like our RV. That just kind of happened. Everything just matches. So, why? Next question.
So the next question is...
You want to answer this one? Biggest peaks and valleys in this lifestyle. Can't wait to listen. What would you say?
So, I'll be positive.
Okay, you'll be positive, I'll be negative.
So, biggest peaks in this lifestyle is, I would definitely say the freedom. Just the freedom that we have to just explore this beautiful country that we have, and that we're able to boondock in beautiful places for free. It's a piece that I've never known in our life outside of traveling the way that we do. And we actually like each other. We love each other, but we also like each other. You know, after being together for 6 years, it's it doesn't get old to be with each other 24/7, and that's something that is just a constant peak for me, the freedom and time that we have together as a family.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, and side note too, it's especially last year, it's not as bad as this year, but has been. But especially last year, in the very first year we went out, which was only 3 months. But I would say that the highs are a lot higher and the lows are also a lot lower than like normal life. Because there are times when you are literally on a mountaintop looking at the most beautiful lakes and mountains and trees and just nature, and it's one of those moments it's just not real, but it is. But then at the same time, you can also have very low lows where you're somewhere and something's broke or your motor won't work, or, you know, we've had this RV where the engine won't start and I just can't figure out why, and it's an electrical problem, or our gray water leaks and it smells, and it's just a lot more lows, but there's a lot more highs too. So it's like that is something you've got to be prepared for, and it is like a literal emotional roller coaster. You could have the best day of your life one day and then like also the worst day of your life, or the worst day of the year, in the same week. So that's something to keep in mind and be prepared for, I would say.
Granted, we had been married exactly 3 years whenever we first hit the road, and next Friday is 5 years of marriage. So the last 2 years of us being on the road together, like you said, have been the highs and our version of low lows, and everyone goes through, different issues in their marriage and stuff. But the first 3 years of our marriage were easy. We never really saw the ugly in each other. We never really fought. It was more of like, you hurt my feelings kind of conversations. Like,
Yeah.
we never really just had any, which we don't fight now like that. We have like disagreements like everybody else, but like it never gets ugly with us. Tyler's such a peacemaker, and I'm always talking about my feelings. So, but what I'm trying to say is, with those low lows, we have both seen the ugliest side of each other
Oh yeah.
in the last 2 years.
We've probably had 10 years of marriage squished into 2.
Yeah.
I would say.
I would agree.
So you've definitely seen sides of me that you probably wouldn't have never seen unless if it was like 10 years down the road.
And when I say like ugly sides of each other, it's not like we're being ugly to each other. It's like,
It's like I'm super mad at this stupid object that is broken.
yeah, and
You know,
he's
and I'm, like,
really
cussing
upset.
at it
And I'm
and-
like, I've never seen you
Yeah.
angry like this. And I've never, like, you learn so much about each other,
Yeah.
which that's kind of like going off on another tangent. But that's part of that is definitely part of the peaks and valleys as, you know, a married couple on the road is you learn so much about each other.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you're literally cramped into this 30-foot space and there's nowhere to go if you're mad at each other or if you just want space. You're not necessarily upset, but you want alone time. Well, go outside, I guess.
Yeah.
Because there's really nowhere to go.
And that's one of probably the biggest learning curves, I would say, is that learning how to manage that. Like this year has definitely been the most peaceful year, I think, for me, because I'm learning how to manage, like, I'm trying to let things go more, not be as mad at things breaking down and expecting it more. So I've definitely, I think I've done better at that personally. So it's just learning and definitely learning how to live in a space like this and be understanding that things are going to go wrong. So, but not to the point where you get scared of things going wrong or that it makes you, deters you away from living this lifestyle. But something to think about, I would say.
Yeah.
What's the next question?
So the next question is, why did you choose this lifestyle?
Why did we choose this lifestyle? Well, I would say probably the biggest reason is just so we can just travel and just get out there and just see things that we wouldn't normally see. Yeah, that would be my simple answer.
I have a less simple answer, go figure. Well, it takes me back to, we had been married for 1 year, and we kind of talked about this in our other podcast before this one, that whenever we first met, our very first conversation was about a cross-country road trip that I wanted to take across the U.S. with one of my friends. And he thought that was really interesting, and that kind of like sparked interest in the beginning of our relationship. And we ended up getting married a year after that conversation. So I ended up having to tell that friend, like, hey, we can't do this cross-country road trip. I'm getting married. So
Sorry, Danny.
yeah, sorry about that. So then I told Tyler, I'm like, I want to do this cross-country road trip, though. So if we're going to get married, this is going to be our first anniversary trip together. And obviously we're both working full-time jobs, so we had to take off just one of the weeks we had for PTO to do a cross-country road trip. How do you do that in a week, you ask? Well, we made it work.
Yeah,
We
lots
flew.
of driving.
Yeah, we flew from Nashville, Tennessee to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and we drove all across out west and
Yep.
the Pacific Northwest and flew from San Francisco back to Nashville, Tennessee.
We'll definitely do a more deeper
Yeah,
dive
we'll
into
definitely
that
talk about that.
in a separate podcast probably, because that's a good story to tell. And there's a video to go along with it too. I've posted it on my personal page, so
Yeah,
but
we'll
that was
have
a long
to.
time ago.
Yeah,
but,
that was 4
but
years
that's
ago
really
now.
what started it all for us, I think.
Well, that
Right?
like peaked, and kind of, and to an extent, because I never would have thought that we could ever do that full time,
Yeah.
but that just gave me like a tiny taste, because I had never been out west before. Like
Yeah.
my vacations in Tennessee were always going to Orange Beach, Alabama, or Destin, or 30A down in Florida, which I'm all for a beach vacation, so I'm definitely not complaining. But I had never seen the mountains out west, and being able to experience that and give me just a small taste of what it's like, I just knew I wanted more of that. I just didn't know how we were going to get that. And then you showed me Slow Car Fast Home's Instagram about a year, not even a year later, like 6 months later. And we just started to have these conversations of like, man, they're just out there doing that. Like, that's crazy. We could do that. And, you know, choosing this lifestyle, it just kind of takes you to just snap of like, I've had enough. I've had enough working at this dead end job. I've had enough of working with these coworkers, dealing with this boss. I'm just fed up. And I had had enough. And you were fine with just kind of doing whatever. So for me to like choose this lifestyle, it took me snapping
Yeah.
and already having a taste of what it would be like to live on the road just during that 1 week to be like, you know, I see this person on social media doing it. I don't see why we couldn't do it. And so just knowing that we could have that freedom together was enough for me to take that leap of faith.
Yeah. And that's the difference between the two. There's definitely a spectrum of the why people do this and what it takes for them to do it. So for you, it took that. For me, I had already traveled. I had traveled out of the country many times. I'd been across out west. I've been to Colorado like 12 times or something like that.
So what happens when you're from the Midwest?
Yeah,
You get
I
more
was
of a
only
taste.
9 hours away from Denver, but I was, you know, when you came to me with this, I was just like, heck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, you were already
You
comfortable
know,
with the
I
idea.
was content. I was content working. I was content with our lives. I liked it, but this was like it was like opening a door just a crack and like looking through, and you're just like, whoa, this is like, I could see us doing this, and so, yeah.
And it
I
wasn't
was
like
down.
a kicking the door down after you kind of peek kind of moment. Like
Like
it
a
took
slowly.
it
Like,
took a slow,
creaking
you know,
open.
opening it up to
Yeah.
like to actually choosing this kind of lifestyle because it's not easy. It wasn't easy for us to do it. We had to make a ton of little tiny baby steps
Yeah.
to finally hit the road. I mean, from the time that we brought up that conversation of choosing this lifestyle was February of 2020, and we hit the road a year and a half later in August of 2021. So it took a lot of tiny baby steps from A to B to get to that moment,
Yeah.
let alone to where we are today. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let's do this next question here. Did you look into pulling a camper trailer with off-grid capabilities instead of pulling a car with the RV? Well, we already talked about how we only had the RV. We didn't have the car yet, but I think we always talk about that once in a while. If we would have had a truck already, we would have gotten a camper. But the problem is I had a little RAV4 and she had a the heck was that thing?
It was a Rogue.
A Rogue.
They were both old used cars.
Yeah,
So
like
even
SUV
if we
type.
sold them, which we have sold them, but back
Yeah.
then, I mean, if we sold both of them at that same time, if we wanted to go buy a truck, we would have maybe gotten $5,000 total out of those old used vehicles.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to go into debt. We're a debt-free family here, so we didn't want to
I
go
hate
into
the
debt.
idea of a car note.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong. Like if that's, you know, if you're okay with that, that's fine. But like for us, we don't like having that. So, yeah. But if we would have had a truck, we would have gotten a camper. But we didn't, and that's why we looked into RVs that already have an engine.
There's pros
on
and cons, no matter which kind of rig that you go for, which we could
Yeah,
make an
there
entire
are.
podcast about different rigs and our opinions on each one, because I
Yep.
know that's also popular questions. But we definitely thought about it, but we're really happy with our setup right now.
Oh yeah, yep. We do like it. Let's do a few more. We're only 30 minutes in. Security. That's a good one to talk about because that's definitely that is something I think people don't really think about because I hear stories about people's first time boondocking, you know, and they're like, man, you know, it's eerie. You parked it in this place and it's great, and then all of a sudden the sun goes down, and you're like, oh, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere in the dark. It's just me, my family, my RV, and you know, it can be a little scary, especially if it's your first time. So I've done a lot of stuff. We both have to make this very secure and as safe as can be. We've really never had any issues, and nothing that really sketches out. There was one Walmart parking lot in this town or the city that we did end up moving because we had somebody like drive by kind of weird, like really close to the RV.
Like if we couldn't have opened up our door if we wanted to. Like that's how close they got to the
it was
RV.
really weird. They didn't
It's really
stop. They
sketchy.
just like went really slow. And so I was like, all right, let's move. So, and they might have been kids messing around or not. I
knows?
don't know. But we've never had anything weird happen out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's always in the city.
Always in the
It's never in the
cities.
middle of nowhere. But I still remember that feeling I had when we parked in the middle of nowhere in Colorado. It was our second campsite we had ever been to. Because our first one was a paid campsite with other people
Yeah.
around. And our second was in the middle of nowhere. And I remember...
Oh, yeah, that national forest.
Yeah. And we were on the top of
I
that.
do
Well, at the
remember.
bottom of the hill, and then we went to
Yep.
the top of the hill. And I remember feeling so unsafe. I felt scared,
Yeah.
which in the Toyota, if somebody could have... I could have broken that door down if I wanted to. Like,
that thing was not
someone could have
secure.
gotten into that if they wanted to. This is definitely a more sturdy rig that would be a lot harder for someone to break into. Obviously, anything's possible.
Oh, yeah.
But we've made a lot of security measures to this RV
Yeah,
to
and
feel safe.
And it helped, I think, for us to have been out there before. So we bought a security camera system that is. I've got a little screen on the dashboard, so I can use it also as a backup camera. But it has one camera facing forward, two on the sides, one in the back, and it records constantly. And it doesn't use a lot of electricity. But it saves to an SD card that's in a lockbox, so you can't like break into it. So it's nice to have that, especially at night if we're in Walmart. We don't have to like, if you hear something weird, you don't have to go to the windows. You can just go to the screen and look at it.
Because it's night vision, so
Yeah, it is
helps.
night vision, and it records. So if something happens on the road, you've got proof of whatever. But that's nice to have. And then we did upgrade our lock system to an RV lock,
Mhm. We have RV Lock now, which,
which is really nice.
yeah, it's not only super convenient to have like a... RV Lock has a keypad on the lock, so you can put in your own special code, or you also have a key fob as well, so you can do that.
And it's a deadbolt too, so it's like, and these doors are pretty solid. Like,
It would be pretty hard
It'd
for
be hard,
someone.
yeah.
It'd be easier for someone to throw a rock through the window and come through a window than it would be to go through the door, probably.
yeah, which that would be hard too. But
But yeah, it would,
another one that we have is Simply Safe. We ended up getting something from them, but we have all of our windows. They make a little ding noise when we open them, so we can set the alarm to where if that opens, the alarm will sound, and there's also a motion detector in here somewhere that detects motion. So if we leave the RV, we can put it on like away mode, and it'll alert us if something happens.
and an alarm will go off within, I think,
It's like within 30 seconds.
within
or-
so many seconds.
Yeah.
So if someone barged in here and we're not in here, then the alarm would go off, which, that would be enough to scare anybody. It's really
Yeah.
loud. So if anybody is near and they hear that alarm go off, they're going to be like...
And I'd be notified like right then. And we also have a Wi-Fi camera too that we have.
Which we
So-
connect to our Starlink. So we have
Yep.
Wi-Fi because of Starlink, and we just connect our security camera, which also kind of goes into Ollie being in here by himself, which is our dog. So, we can keep an eye on him that way
Yeah.
as well. So it's another security measure.
Yeah, and we try not to leave him in here, but sometimes you have to. So you just do as much as you can. Yeah, and we have other means of security too. More, inside, more manual things.
I mean, you just have to do whatever makes you feel the most safe
Oh, yeah.
in your home, in your rig. You want to be able to defend yourself. So whatever that looks like for you, whether it's mace, whether it's a bow and arrow, whatever.
A baseball bat.
Yeah, do what you got to do.
Electric fence.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
just whatever works for you. But, we have our own measures that make
Oh, yeah.
us and our family feel safe. And another form of security that we have as well is our entire family has our location.
Yeah, we
Both
gave it
on
to
both
them.
of our phones. We shared our location with both his mom and dad and my mom and dad, and my siblings actually have my location as well.
Yeah.
So, if anything were to happen, they have our location.
Yeah. Let's do this one. This will be interesting. How do you manage the gas prices? Man, that's a good one. Especially so last year, man,
We
we
hit the road
left.
at the worst time.
Yeah, we left in February, and we went back to the beach in Texas, where we left in the Toyota. So we went back to the beach, and right when we got there, like within that month, I think, the war broke out in Russia
Ukraine.
versus Ukraine, and the gas prices spiked. And so we were sitting here in this gas guzzler getting 6, 7 miles to the gallon. We were like, did we just make a mistake? Like,
Because gas prices back then in Tennessee, because that's where we were,
yeah,
back whenever we first bought this RV, was 250
yep.
ish,
At the most,
maybe
yeah.
less than that, depending
the-
on where you were.
And the Toyota, there was one time we got 20 miles to the gallon going across Kansas in that thing. So we went from that to 6. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was.
So we
it
were
was
sweating a
kinda
little
tough.
bit.
I remember when we were on the
Oof.
beach, and then we drove into town to go pick up a package, and we would have to drive into town every now and then to get groceries or
Yeah.
a package. And every time we drove into town, the gas just kept going up and up and
Yeah.
up, and I was like, "This is Texas. What is it gonna be like when we drive to California?"
Yeah, the highest we ever saw it, and I think was at its peak everywhere. But we were at the most expensive gas station
In the U.S.
in the U.S., or close to it at least, in the same area. It was like $7 and some change.
Yeah, it was almost $8
for
a
unleaded.
gallon. It
This
was
is not a diesel.
It was outside of Yosemite National
Yeah.
Park.
Thankfully, we didn't. This is not a diesel because it would have been even more.
Yeah,
But that
which we have a
was-
75-gallon tank, so to fill up it hurts.
It hurt. Yeah, I remember. When we were there, we were in California. I remember getting 25 gallons just so we could get across into Arizona
Nevada.
or into Nevada because it was like
It was significantly
it was a
cheaper.
cent or two cheaper. So
I think it was we would get back into the $3.
oh yeah, we went from like 5 or 6 down to the 350
Yeah,
range. Yeah,
but we just needed to cross the border.
yeah. So we just kind of rolled up on fumes and rolled
So
into the
that's-
gas station.
But to answer the question of how we manage the gas prices, obviously there's nothing that we can do to control that. We live in an RV that has 75 gallons,
Yeah.
and we have a Jeep that we also have to take care of as well with diesel. So something that we do that helps manage the prices, like if we're in a place that's more expensive, is that we only fill up what we have to. Like we don't want to be
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Like if you know your miles per gallon, and then how far the next gas station is, if it's worth it, if it's like $1 cheaper, then yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be pushing empty. Like we never
Yeah.
let our gas tank get less than half most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
But especially when we were in California last year, we would just fill up a couple of gallons or just however much we needed to be able to get to where we needed to go.
Which was out of California at that time.
Yeah.
Like for instance here, we're sitting here in Canada right now, and we filled up back in Montana because obviously it's more expensive up here. So we got about half a tank right now. So we'll probably have to put a little bit more in here to get back across the border, but that's probably what we'll do. But there are apps out there that you can find like cheaper gas stations.
Like Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy is a great
yeah,
one.
that's a good one.
There's other ones out there too, but Gas Buddy is
Yeah.
what we use for seeing cheaper gas for the RV.
Yeah.
But another way is, if you know that, okay, the gas prices are going to be expensive and, I don't want to spend a lot of money right now on gas, we can just find a place to boondock and sit in one spot for a long time and recoup after spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we're doing right now. We spend a lot of money to drive from Missouri straight to Banff in Canada.
It was, I think I calculated the other day. It was over $1,000.
I don't think I want to know.
It was
Okay.
over 1,000. Sorry. Just kidding. It wasn't. No, it was. It was 1,000. It's like $1,100 for this pulling the Jeep. So
So yeah, now we're
Yeah.
going to be sitting in this spot for 3 weeks and,
Yeah.
kind of chill out on spending the money. So that's also a great way to
yeah.
manage gas prices as well as manage your budget.
And normally we don't drive that far anyway, unless we're trying to get somewhere. So from here, we're going to go back to like Idaho area. eventually, which is not as far as going from here to Missouri. So
Yeah.
we call it our rent for the month. Every
Gas
time we fill
money
up, yeah.
is definitely your rent because we usually spend.
It is what it is.
We usually spend, especially whenever we're traveling, we spend about as much on gas as we would have in rent like 3 years ago. Rent, I know, is a lot more expensive nowadays.
Oh yeah, I don't even know because we're on the post side of all that, but yeah. Well, let's do one more question. I think this is probably the one that people really want to know is how often are you able to shower? In other words, how stinky do you have to get in order to shower?
Oh, well, what's your definition of shower?
I don't know, just in general. Well, for you, it's like, do I wash my hair or not? For me, it's everything all at once because I have short hair. What's interesting, though, is we don't have to take as much showers when we're out west because it's not as hot. We don't sweat as much.
That makes a
Humidity
difference
is
for
lower.
sure.
If you're in the South or the Midwest, you got to do it every day.
Yeah.
But for us out here, I'll answer. I would say
For yourself.
for myself, 4 days to 5. Like today, I'm actually going to shower this evening.
Well, he can take a much quicker shower than I
Yeah,
can.
I do a
obviously.
Navy shower. But we have 75 gallons of water, so we can do it more often than we probably could before. But
I
I'd say 4 or 5
probably
days.
I probably shower like a full shower, if that's what you're asking. Probably every 9 to 10 days.
And that includes your hair.
That's actually showering, like washing my
But
hair,
if you're just washing off,
shaving.
what is that?
that-
How often is that, though?
What?
If you're just like washing off real quick. Same thing.
I do not physically get in the shower most of the time. Every now and then I do, but
Yeah.
what I do personally is, one, we have a bidet, and if you don't have a bidet, you're missing out. So that makes me feel a lot more clean because I use that if I'm going to the bathroom or if I'm not going to the bathroom, because that helps me feel more clean. But then we also, take rag baths, where you can just, without using a whole lot of water, just get a rag wet and at least just like, that's what I do. I don't know if you know that I do that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I usually don't, but
I wash my body because I don't want to get my hair wet.
yeah.
Or if I need to, shave my armpits or something, I can just do that quick in the bathroom and I don't have to take a full-on shower and waste water when I can just do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole point of all that is water usage. We want to use as the least amount of water as we can. And like I said, we do have 75-gallon water tank. And we've gone, we can go 10 days comfortably with showers in between and running our dishwasher once per day. 10 full days. I think we've gone even up to 12 days before.
That just takes priority for me over me
Yeah.
taking a shower when there's other ways for me to be clean, there's other ways for me to still smell good and like to still have hygiene. Like we both definitely still have hygiene, but there's been ways we've been able to cut corners, or yes, I've been able to cut corners,
Yeah.
so that way I can still be clean.
I usually take more showers if we're traveling. Because, like, if we show up at a Walmart, I'm like, I gotta take a shower. I've been driving all day, sweating.
But we're also able to have access to water.
Yeah, usually we have access to water, so. And we usually have hot water by the end of the drive. Fun fact, though, about our hot water tank. I think this is a Winnebago thing, but the water tank in here it's located up front. So they have a thing where when you drive the RV, there's a couple of tubes and a pump that pumps the water out and around the engine, and it heats up the water tank as you drive. So when you get to where you're going, you have one full hot water tank for a shower. That's a Winnebago thing, I'm pretty sure. And it's genius. So you don't have to wait for hot water when you get to where you're going.
Yeah, but only one person can do that.
Unless you do a quick shower.
Yeah, which we don't. Typically,
Yeah.
we don't both take a shower in the same day.
Yeah. We just don't. I mean, not because we're planning it that way, but it just happens. But All right, I think that's a great stopping point. What do you think?
Yep, I think that's a great stopping point. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this one and answered some good questions for you guys. So we will see you guys next podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.